G'day guys, Chronicles of Solid here and welcome back to the garage. Today I thought I'd do my top 5 motorcycle related TV shows. I love TV shows almost more than I love movies. And the reason is you can really dive into the long form narrative and immerse yourself in the world of a TV show, get to know the characters better and almost experience the challenges that they face. So without further ado, let's get into the video. This video is going to be a little different than last week's video. I'm going to rank my TV shows from my favorite to my least favorite, and also these TV shows are going to focus exclusively on adventure and dual sport motorcycles. So fans of Sons of Anarchy and Orange County Choppers, they aren't included in the list purely because they're not dirt orientated motorcycle TV shows. So my first pick is Long Way Round. It does get some criticism, but I don't care. I love this show. I think it's a fantastic show about two best friends traveling the world on their motorcycles and having an absolute blast. This show really started, or at least built up the adventure motorcycle market to where it is today. It really popularized the format and it made the GS an institution in and of itself. I'm pretty sure the guy at KTM who thought they wouldn't make it and decided not to give them KTM motorcycles is still in some dungeon getting whipped as we speak. Now this show is fantastic for a few reasons. The first is just how much it covers. I love how it starts with the idea, Ewan and Charlie getting together, and it follows them all the way through the adventure. So it goes through their visa applications, it goes through their fitness training, it goes through their first aid training, it goes through their motorcycle off-road training. It really builds up the experience, and then the adventures they have, how they stop in different countries and meet fantastic people. Now, as I said, the places they see, I think the best spots are Kazakhstan, Mongolia and Russia, especially the Road to Bones where it really does get tough. There's a lot of thrills and spills. The whole crew come together, the directors, the cameraman on the motorcycle, Claudio, he really brings something else to the show as well. There's a really great closely knit group of friends, which I think really adds to a dynamic of an adventure TV show, is the group of people you have, and this is a great bunch. So watching them develop and the challenges they face over time, this really is an amazing show, and watching them finish in New York really still gives me some tingles. It really is a journey, and I was able to dive into this show. And this show I actually saw before I was into adventure riding, and this really kind of started that little seed in the back of my head that, hey, maybe I'm missing out on something just riding motorcycles that are stuck on the road. Maybe I should look into something that can go into the dirt. And I think this TV show did that for a lot of people, and that is why this is my number one pick. So check out Long Way Round if you haven't already. So my second pick was almost my first pick, but the reason it didn't get the number one spot is it didn't contribute quite as much to the world of adventure and motorcycle riding. And that's Race to Dakar. And Race to Dakar is a TV series that this time follows Charlie Boorman and his attempt at the Dakar Rally. Now this happens between Long Way Round and Long Way Down. There's hardly any of Ewan McGregor in this TV show, so it is very centric on Charlie Boorman. But he does take two riders with him. He takes Simon Peavy, who's an Aussie guy, so thumbs up for that. And he's a Dakar Rally veteran, and his friend Matt. And so Simon coaches Matt and Charlie and teaches them how to ride off-road properly and the skills they'll need in order to face the Dakar Rally. And it shows you, like the Long Way Round, it takes that format and it shows the conception of the idea, the gathering of the group. Russ, the producer from Long Way Round, is back and he brings his team with him. And it shows Charlie's development as a rider, his rider training, his fitness regime, his dietary requirements, and he slowly enrolls in harder and harder local events, which is also interesting to see. And then you get to see the process of how difficult it is just to get a team enrolled into the Dakar Rally, and then the challenges they face. And another great facet of this TV show is how they focus on the privateers. So it doesn't just stay stuck on Charlie Borman. You actually get to see all the wonderful characters that enroll in the Dakar as privateers. So they've put up their own money. Some of them have mortgaged their houses just to get into this race. So that wonderful collection of characters and how they face the extreme challenges of the Dakar Rally is just, it makes for great TV. So I would highly recommend this if you're a lover of desert racing or just watching people go through some really difficult challenges and highs and lows, then this is a must watch. So my third favorite show is Long Way Down. Now it's third on the list because it doesn't quite have the magic of Long Way Round, and it doesn't quite have the nail-biting writing of Race to Dakar, but it is a fantastic show in its own right. They start in Scotland and they end in Cape York in South Africa. It's really an amazing show. You get to see the team come together. Charlie and Ewan are reunited. So are the producers and the cameraman. So it's great to see them all come back together and having a blast again. They also bring along Ewan's wife for some of this. Now that does create a little bit of tension between Charlie and Ewan, but that also makes for great TV. You also get to see what it's like to ride as an adventure rider from a brand new rider's perspective, because Ewan's wife doesn't know how to ride at the beginning of the show. So it really is interesting to see that perspective, as well as adventure riding from the female gaze. So that's also refreshing. This was also the show that got me into adventure riding. Yes, I'm one of those people that the Long Way series captured my imagination, and it started my journey into looking into off-road riding. I was actually over at a mate's place and he just had it running in the background, and I was about to leave, but the show was so good and I loved the riding off-road so much that I sat down and watched it to the end. It captured my attention and it got me thinking, hey, maybe this off-road riding really is a thing I should look into. Because until that point, I was a road rider. I was actually into track days, so I'd dress up as a Power Ranger and I'd go to the track and get my knee down and do all that. I had a Kawasaki Ninja 636 at the time. So this changed my whole point of view into off-road riding. So for that, it's got my thanks, and it's the reason it's still number 3 in the list. The fourth show on my list is Mondo Enduro. Now this surprises me all the time how little people actually know about this gem of a TV show. It's about Austin Vince and his brother Gerald and 5 other friends, and they decide to travel the world on DR350s. Now what makes this special is that this was long before Long Way Round and the Long Way series. This was actually recorded in 1995, and what's special is that these are just everyday guys. The ride was unsupported and they filmed it themselves. And you got to remember, in the 90s, cameras were huge back then. So it was real dedication to the craft to self-film it all the way through across the places that they ride. So it's quite amazing just in that fact. Now it is a bit quirky. It is unashamedly English and it has that English style humor. If you're familiar with like old 70s comedies in England, like The Good Life, it's kind of that style of low budget humor. Remember, it is just a bunch of guys in their garage who've decided to travel the world. But you really do get to see things that you don't get to see in the higher production stuff. You get to see them come up with solutions to problems like what bikes to choose that are based on a strict budget. They take DR350s in the end, which is a great choice. The mods they make and how they try and save money along the way. So it really adds a layer that the Long Way series doesn't have. So it really is worth a watch if you can get your hands on it. It is getting a bit old and hard to find, but it's worth it if you can find the series. Some of you may know Austin Vince now. This series really has reached cult status, so I would encourage you to check it out because it's a fantastic series. So again, Mondo Enduro, check it out. The fifth show on my list is Terra Circa. It's the follow-up to Mondo Enduro. Austin Vince and his brother Gerald Vince reunite with his band of merry men and some new faces, and they tackle the round the world trip once again. If you remember, in Mondo Enduro, They actually have to catch the train in Siberia because of the weather, so they want to go back so that they can do that section, as well as a few of the guys injure themselves in Mondo Enduro and don't make it the whole way, so they wanted to tackle it again with everyone making it through. And this time everything's a little bit better. You get a 5-part series instead of a 2-part series. The equipment's better because it's more recent. Austin Vince has learned a little bit in the editing room and shooting the video, so everything's a little bit tighter and a little bit nicer filmed. And you also get to see the gang back together, the same challenging terrain. Things have changed over time though, so there's some challenges that are in this that aren't in the previous one. And they do go through some new places. So it definitely is its own beast and well worth a watch. And it's fantastic to see them do the shoestring budget theme. You know, these are just regular guys who don't have much money. They choose DR350s again and they do budget mods. So it's fantastic to see that kind of homemade wanderlust taking them across the world. So another series that I would highly recommend. So like the previous video, I'm going to throw in a bonus round here and give you a YouTube channel that I think is absolutely worth a watch. And that is Motorcycle Adventure Dirt Bike TV. Now, I'm not getting anything out of this plug. I just really love this guy's channel. He's an Aussie bloke by the name of Dave, and he really has some amazing content. He's done some amazing worldwide adventures, and he rides everything from massive big adventure bikes like Super Teneres and GSs, all the way down to skinny little EXCs. And he's done world trips and he does amazing enduro trips up into Cape York. So there's something for everyone. If you're into big bikes, he does big bikes. If you're into skinny bikes, there's skinny bike adventures. He has some amazing trips, and there's a wide range of material in there, so it'll keep you occupied for days. It's also free, so I'd highly recommend going and checking Dave's channel out. So Motorcycle Adventure Dirt Bike TV. It gets the thumbs up from Solid. It's a fantastic show, and it's all the sweeter because it's an Aussie channel. Before I go, I just wanted to talk about 2 books that are also fantastic. I love reading, so these books I thought I'd suggest as well. The first is Jupiter's Travels by Ted Simon. Ted Simon is the guy who started it all. He's the original gangster when it comes to traveling the world. So I would highly recommend this if you love a great rider traveling the world, having some crazy experiences. This guy almost gets executed twice in the Middle East. He gets arrested being thought he was a spy in South America and joins a hippie commune in America. So there's some amazing reading in here. The second book is Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Now, the title is a bit misleading. It's actually about a father and son traveling across America, trying to repair their frayed relationship. It's all about a guy who had a mental breakdown and how he comes to terms with how that happened and how it affected his family and his relationships, and him overcoming that. It documents the events leading up to the breakdown, interspersed with his travels with his son. So it's a really great read, and it's also a really good one if you like to get a little philosophical and a little deeper than your general book. So another one I would highly recommend, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. So check both these books out if you haven't already. So that wraps up this video, guys. If you've got any TV shows or maybe a YouTube channel or a book you love, please chuck it in the comment section down below, as I'm sure everyone would love to hear about it. And as always, guys, I've been Chronicles of Solid, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you later.